Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. Welcome to a Monday edition of Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's game week, folks. We got a new format. Hope you enjoyed it. Our man Evan put together something very cool. So hope you enjoy the new, it's different every day, I believe, a different voiceover. Today we had the old Sean Kelly, the new voice of the Gators, introduced in our program. Got a lot to talk about today. We'll have JC here in just a minute. We'll have Pat Dooley, the old Gainesville Sun writer who does his own podcast, get his thoughts leading into this season. I like to get these old timers' thoughts because he's covered so many openers for the Gators. Get his thoughts on what he thinks is going to happen. But we'll take your comments, your texts on the Titan More text line. But got a lot to talk about. Good morning, JC. Welcome to the program.
Oh, good morning. Yes, I'm starting to feel like an old timer these days, QB. But another football season is here, my man. This is, game week is great because it's all you think about the whole week for me when we go into these games. And we had some games over the weekend, QB. Did anything surprise you? I got surprised by one game and not surprised by the other. Because didn't we pick two on Friday?
Well, yeah, I went 0-3 and you went 2-1.
Right.
Yeah, so let's start start with Nebraska.
Yeah.
Nebraska, if people missed it, Nebraska goes up 11 points. They were losing, and they scored 2 straight touchdowns very quickly, have a lot of momentum. I think there's about 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they tried surprise onside, which was executed very, very poorly because the kick was terrible. It didn't look like anybody knew what was going on, actually. So, anyway, long story short, Scott Frost loses another game to a team that just has. I mean, I tell you what, that was one of the best Northwestern performances I've ever seen.
Well,
and you know why, JC? They have a quarterback.
Yeah.
But we know the story of his brother. He was at South Carolina, transferred to Northwestern.
Yeah.
But he's accurate, makes good decisions, and they threw the ball well. And that allowed them to run the football well. But, boy, Scott Frost is in some trouble.
Well, and the opposite of Scott Frost is Pat Fitzgerald, who gets the most out of very little. And Helinski benefits from a guy like Pat Fitzgerald. And you would think that a quarterback who's now a coach like Scott Frost would figure it out. And that team and his record is so bad, and they owe him so much money that they were literally forced to keep him at Nebraska. And that's what Trev Alberts was saying. It was economically, it just didn't make sense to let him go because of what they owed him, because of what they foolishly gave him when he left Central Florida to come back home. And they are, their record shows you what they are. They're just not a successful football program. And you look at Northwestern, where I don't know if you've ever been to Evanston, Illinois, QB.
I have. I used to live about 15 minutes from there.
Okay. A very nice campus, but very cold place. And I would think very hard to attract great players to come to in a great conference. And Helinski goes up there, and you've got Pat Fitzgerald. I mean, Pat Fitzgerald to me is why Northwestern is competitive, because of how good he is as a coach and how he hasn't been offered by a bigger program QB to me.
He doesn't want to leave.
He doesn't want to leave. He loves his program, but at some point, don't you think he wants to coach Oklahoma or he wants to coach somewhere that has a chance?
No, none of those schools want him because of his style of play. It's so damn boring to watch.
Well, 31-28 is not boring if you're a Northwestern fan.
Well, no, it was a huge win for them. There's no question about that. I saw this stat. I screenshot it, referring to Nebraska. So Nebraska was 67-27 under Bo Pelini.
Yeah.
Never won less than 9 games in a season.
And they ran him out of there.
Fired him. And now they were 34-50 cents.
I mean, and I don't
Isn't that crazy?
he's going to probably win the next 2 games against North Dakota and Georgia Southern. He's going to get routed by Oklahoma at home, and I think that could be the beginning of the end if we haven't even already seen it. And so, the lucky thing for Nebraska is they play in the Big Ten West, and that allows you to play teams like Illinois and Minnesota, and but then you still have to deal with Iowa and Wisconsin. They're going to have a losing record again this year, unless they can turn it around. And maybe they can. But man, that's pathetic. Their defense is awful. And then you've got how about our SEC Vanderbilt Commodores going out there to play a team that I didn't think was in a Division I. Doesn't even look like a Division I team. Hawaii. All the good Hawaiian players, QB, they leave the island to go play in the mainland. Marcus Mariota, Tua Tagovailoa, and on and on and on. They never stay home, and it's hard to recruit there. I don't imagine Hawaii being very competitive in any game.
No, that was one of – I watched about a quarter and a half. Hawaii is so bad. Yeah. I couldn't believe how bad they were. JC, they did so many unsound things, especially on defense. It's like one of those teams you see on a Friday night that their high school coach has no clue, and poor old Timmy Chang's going to have a long year. Hawaii will not win a game. I'm going to tell you that right now. Hawaii will not win a football game this year. They're probably going to get blown out every game. But, hey, Vandy scores 63 on them.
Right.
And they're the best team in the SEC as of today.
Best program in the country, QB. You know that. That's what Clark Lee said. And they'll have 3 wins this year, maybe 4. I don't know what it looks like for them in the SEC. You don't like their chances, but they may slip up.
They ain't winning an SEC game.
Well, you just – how it goes.
Not with that quarterback. That kid needs to go be playing in Air Force.
Well, like you said that Vandy needs to become an option running type.
Yes. They need to hire Paul Johnson, get him out of retirement, because that will cause chaos in the SEC week in and week out because you don't see it. We got a bunch of texts here on the Titan MR text line. Let's get to those real quick. All right. I'm pulling them up. What's going on there?
I tell you, while you're looking those up, I read up about what the predictions are. We're in game week, so we're allowed to make some predictions, right? It's week 1. We can do some predictions, baby. And obviously everybody's got Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, but the 4th team is up for review, and I'm seeing a lot of Utah Ute picks. Mm-hmm. And guess what's happening here in 5 days? The Utah Utes roll in. So we're going to see maybe we will see one of the country's best teams come in here to play the Fighting Gators of 2022.
Well, I've been telling you all summer long that Utah is a very, very good football team, very well coached. They got some mismatches that are going to cause our defense problems.
Well, watch the quarterback.
A lot of things can happen. It's a swamp. Right. It could be hot. It could rain.
Rain.
Get a couple turnovers.
Probably will rain. Yeah, Cam Rising at quarterback. This kid named Tavion Thomas. He's a great running back. They've got healthy corners. They're pretty big on the interior fronts. For a rebuilding team like Florida, for trying to find athletes to play, get that roster right, this is not the kind of game you want to open with. You'd rather open up with Utah State than Utah.
No, I don't even know if we want. I'd rather open up against Montana State.
Okay, throw Idaho State out there. I don't care. Just throw one of those states from the Northwest out there, except Washington State. Probably wouldn't want to open up with them either. But Utah is going to be – it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. I'm just telling you this now. Read up on them.
These texts ain't working today for some reason.
A lot of guys got while you look that up, I'm just I don't want to just go on and on about how great I think Utah's going to be. I'll just tell you this is one of the tougher season openers Florida's had in many, many years. And they're going to see a very physical team that's well coached. So I would think. So Florida better play well and be disciplined and not turn it over and not have a lot of penalties. And that way we'll see maybe we'll see a good game. Who knows?
Are you in the market to buy or sell your home? Doreen Weeby, a realtor with Caldwell Banker M. Parish, provide you fast, friendly, reliable service. Call her today at 352-562-1411 to help your dreams come true. A couple of Facebook Lives here. Rick says, golf was so exciting. 21 under par must have been a putt. First of all, Rick, it was staggered due to how you performed during the entire season. Scotty Scheffler started the tournament at 10 under par. It was phenomenal, by the way. It was unbelievable golf. Give Rory McIlroy credit. Comes from 7 shots down yesterday to win. And
what we talked about, QB, Scheffler had to come back to the field. When you shoot a 73, that's what you do. And that's what had to happen. But take nothing away from Rory. He shot 67. Or 66, something like that. He's had a great year, Rory, man. I don't think people don't realize what a great year he's had. Without even winning, he's finished in second a bunch of times. Could have easily won the British Open. So, had a great year, Rory.
John asked a question. Did I agree with Brock Heward that Pat Fitzgerald was settling for field goals on a couple of the third and long plays? Nothing wrong with taking 30. Well, he missed one field goal, but it was like 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 8, and they running these tall sweeps.
Yeah,
your quarterback was hot. He throws the ball extremely well. I did not. I would have at least tried to get the first down. I mean, trust your quarterback that he'll throw it away, and then you can still kick it. But anyway, it was a big win for them.
Big win.
Joseph says Clark Lee said that Vandy could be a top program in the SEC. I'm on the limb right now. What is today, JC?
Today is 5 days before game day.
No, the date.
August 20th.
It is August 29th.
29th.
Vanderbilt will not win an SEC game. Okay, they're a bad football team. Hawaii, I can tell you right now, I'm a little bit exaggerating, but there's some good high school teams that could have given Hawaii fits. Hawaii, I've never seen. It literally was like Hawaii didn't practice, but they didn't do sound stuff. One time, Vanderbilt lined up in a 2 tight end set, tight end to the left, the other tight end on the wing, and they bounced them over here. The quarterback said move, and they go over here. Nobody moved on Vanderbilt's defense. On Hawaii's defense, and they just ran. JC, you could have scored.
It was easy. It was like they didn't have a clue what was really happening out there. They did perform the haka dance before the game, which is
that's outstanding.
They did do that. There were 9,000 fans at that game, including my oldest son, who was watching it because he wanted to see a football game. And they've got a new little ballpark there to play in. It's a beautiful campus, but they don't play very well at football. How about Northwestern, though, QB? They're going to be 4-0 going into Penn State. You just don't take your eye off them. I know this coach is just I just like everything about the Northwestern team. I don't know how I picked Nebraska. That was a big mistake, but I did go 2-1. What was my other win, QB?
Well, you won Illinois, and you won,
Illinois, yeah. That was easy. Illinois was easy. Vanderbilt, I thought, was easy. But Nebraska, they're just a perennial disappointment. Perennial disappointment, QB. Perennial.
And I won the golf picks because I had Sunjay M. Sunjay M is ridiculous, by the way.
Good player.
He's only 24 years old.
He's probably the best South Korean player out there.
So, JC, how nervous would you have been on the last couple of holes when Rory and Scotty were going after for $18 million?
Well, look, I would have been more nervous if I had $18 million on the line to lose. So, it's not, they're out there playing a game show. Okay. They're out there trying to win the grand jackpot. But yeah, I think I would have been a little shaky. You know how I get that way with my hands sometimes? I played golf in Biloxi, Mississippi, QB, at a place called the Preserve. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's in Goshen, Mississippi, just short of Van Cleve up on Highway 57. And even with all the rain that the area got and with all the bad weather, the place is immaculate. It's connected with what is called the Palace Casino in Biloxi, which is a smoke-free casino, by the way, and a good place to go to if you don't like your clothes smelling badly or if you don't want to get a headache from ingesting a secondhand smoke. So you can go there, get a deal with the Preserve, play that golf course, which is fabulous, and it's literally about a 15-minute drive, not a big deal, and have a great time in Biloxi, Mississippi. And so I would highly recommend that for anybody going that way for football season to bet on games, play golf, do gambling, whatever you want to do in Biloxi. Those are two good ideas, I think.
We just had somebody ask here, will Roy go to the new tour? There's no way Roy leaves.
No, he's like Tiger. He's set.
And Lauren Wilson, if I'm drinking Crystal Light, no, this is what is that stuff called? Comes in a Celsius little packs that I put in there. Okay, so we got this long text. I'm going to read some of it. This is from Josh. He's giving us his assessment of Florida, Utah. He says, I recommend that the Gators run the ball early and often throughout this game. Well, they are because they're better running than they are throwing. Not only does running the ball keep the ball in the hands of the Utes offense, but a constant and physical tough run game combined with favorable environment effects will wear the Utes down. The game day weather conditions and atmosphere favors the Gators. In addition, there are likely going to be effects from the long distance travel from Utah to Florida. They're coming in 2 days early. So they will be adjusted. The sweltering heat, pregame info, jet lag effects will likely make it difficult for the Utes players to maintain their physical performance throughout the game. The Utes will have to endure some serious mental impacts from the claustrophobic feeling that they will sustain from 90,000 hostile fans pumping in the heat and crowd noise into an indoor practice facility 2,000 miles away is not equivalent to the real swamp environment. I'm going to agree with the atmosphere on game day, but it's not – I mean, look, it's no different than Hawaii. Vanderbilt. It ain't like they just right before the week of the game they decided their travel. Utah has planned their travel a year and a half ago of what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. The humidity will play a factor, but I'm just warning people. Utah is damn good, people. Damn good. People have them going to play for the national title as one of the Final Four. So we'll see.
But it would be. Listen. What surprises me, QB, is that the line is below 3 points. I think that's a lot of respect for what he just described. But I think as you go into the game, you get going, and we reach the second period, and all of the hoopla is over with. You get down to the X's and O's. You get down to who's got better players. You get down to who's got more experience. You get down to who's more physical. And that's where Florida's challenges are going to be. And that's where, you got a team like Utah that's got the experience and all those things I just mentioned, and that could work on a team that's very young. And that's what Florida is, QB. So look, anything can happen. It's a 2-point spread. I don't know. It could be why it's not a 9-point spread. Well, it's because it's in Gainesville. All right.
If it was in Utah, what would the spread be? 10?
It would be 9 to 10 points. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, easily. Easily. And here's the thing. Utah, like I said, once you get over that initial, only Gators come out alive thing and all that happens. And I'm not trying to piss anybody off here, folks. I'm just trying to keep it real a little bit. Utah has players that know how to play this game and have been to big-time environments before. It's not a new thing. They played at Oregon. You know what they did to the Oregon Ducks last year, QB? Twice? They made them look like Hawaii. People need to remember this. They need to remember this. This is not some, five and dime outfit rolling through here like FAU or whatever. This is the real deal, guys. And I'm just trying to keep your expectation levels rational. And you've got a returning quarterback, you've got a running back who kicks ass, and you've got quarterbacks and linemen and linebackers that are very physical.
Well, the tight ends are going to cause a serious issue.
A lot of problems.
Book it. This ain't Duquesne rolling in. Boy, you're talking about another bad football team. I don't know who would win between Duquesne and Hawaii.
Duquesne, you know what it is? It's literally a school with a bunch of buildings in downtown Pittsburgh. I don't know. I didn't even know they had a football team. I'm telling you, I know it's an FCS team. I would give maybe Hawaii a slight edge over Duquesne, but Florida State was a 42-point favorite, did not cover. Okay. Now, they had some issues with lightning and weather, and I made the wrong assessment that nobody showed up because I didn't.
There was over 50,000 there. They had a good attendance. I was surprised.
Well, but do you think that's really a good attendance when your stadium holds 70? Maybe it is. I don't know. Season opener? I guess.
I'll be honest. If Florida opened up with Duquesne, do you think it's going to be packed? No.
Well, I would with a new coach. Yeah, I do. But I don't. But you're right. Norvell's not a new coach. And listen, Florida State's coming off a bad year. I guess it's more like a scrimmage, and fans get that. But the weather may have played a factor. I don't remember. I was in Biloxi.
Yeah, you were busy.
I was.
We got a couple of Facebook Lives, people asking about the players. Is Utah better on offense or defense? Lauren says they're probably a little bit better on offense, but not by much. Yeah, they're solid. They have. I will say this: they have more guys that were going to get drafted than the Gators do. Yes. They have a couple of DBs that are outstanding, supposed to be highly touted.
Yes.
For the National Football League. They got 2 tight ends that will be in the first couple of rounds.
Quarterback, running back, and lineman. And they're loaded. And I'm looking at The Athletic, which is a very reputable publication. A lot of guys want to write for The Athletic. A lot of people have subscriptions to The Athletic. They've got Bruce Feldman. They've got all these guys writing for them. Andy Stables, Nicole Auerbach. People like this. Many of them pick Utah to go in the Final Four, folks. That's what I'm saying is that there's a lot of expectations from Utah. I think they can handle it because they're well coached.
Herb Street also picked Nebraska to play in the Big Ten, play Ohio State for the Big Ten championship.
Okay.
So how about this, JC? Barn burner, week 4. Jeff says Duquesne plays Hawaii in week 4.
What? Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Jeff, thank you for that heads up. Checking it out, man. We'll finally find out if Hawaii can win a game. Maybe they will. Was that game in Pittsburgh or in Hawaii? I mean, I guess
you would think. You don't think? I would not think they're going to Pittsburgh to play Duquesne.
But can Duquesne afford to go to Hawaii?
No, they don't pay. That's the place you play pays for your travel.
Well, there's 9,000.
We're paying for Utah to come to Gainesville.
Okay, well, there's 9,000, and Utah will pay for Florida to come to Salt Lake, but in 2 years. But gee whiz.
Speaking of that, today we're at Park City, Utah.
I see that Park City with 30-minute drive. It's a great place to go, folks, if you're skiing or you like golf.
Okay, so I'm going to announce the winner of our contest.
You had a contest, QB?
We had a contest where I don't know how it all works, but it's about tweeting and retweeting. And for a Coach Spurrier signed visor and a replica jersey of your choice for the number, name, and size and all that. So the winner is Michelle Hartman McDonald.
Oh.
So, Michelle, if you're listening, hopefully you are, you got to direct message the show so we can get what number you want on your jersey, what name you want on the back, your size, and we got to get an address to ship all this stuff to you. So that's our winner. We appreciate everybody participating. So should be fun.
Yeah, I'd feel better if Utah had the quarterback that they started with last year, Charlie. The hell was his name?
Brewer?
Charlie Brewer was their starter last year, and they lost.
Well, you know where Charlie Brewer's starting now?
He is starting somewhere, and I did read
Liberty.
that. Yeah, the Flames with Hugh Freeze. He'll do well there. But, Utah started out the year 1-2 last year. And then here comes Cam Rising to face Washington State and USC, and they go from there. So this guy's a good quarterback, folks. You're going to see a good one in here on Saturday.
Yep. But I will say this. The biggest positive that the Gators have, home crowd, humidity, and the swamp.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's right. And it could be sloppy and wet, very rainy.
If we were playing at AT&T Stadium at Jerry World, I wouldn't think we'd have a chance.
No,
but we do since it's at home.
That's right.
Lauren says you have to be present to win. Redraw. That's funny.
Lauren wants to win.
All right, JC. Anything else stand out to you? National Football League, they got to cut down here in the next couple of days to 53.
Did anything happen to Aaron Donald? I mean, we talked about his melee, so they're not.
Well, the NFL, the league can't do anything since it wasn't a game. Since it was a practice, it had to be handled within the organization. So
okay,
I don't know.
I wouldn't expect anything to happen. These guys just lose it sometimes. I will say a couple things about the NFL that I think could surprise, and that is we've talked about the Jaguars. Hopefully, local team. Hopefully they win 6-7 games. We think they will. We both do. I also think Detroit will win more than one game, and I think Green Bay is going to be very overrated. I think they may even have trouble winning their division this year because they did not help Aaron Rodgers, and I think Minnesota could have a team that challenges them in the NFC North. Now, QB, are we going to pick at all any our divisions and any?
We have a whole nother. The NFL doesn't start for another 2 weeks.
You're right. Okay, so but we're going to do that, right? In 2 weeks, we're going to do that. Okay, and then what? And then on Friday, we're going to have picks for the first weekend of the game. I can expand my lead on you from 2-1 to 0-3 and make it.
I'm going to let you have it, but we're going to have to alternate picks because this week, basically, you picked the game first, and I basically just went opposite of you. All right, before we let you go, there's some other news and notes I want to get to. Did you see Desmond Howard's 14 playoff picks?
No, who do he have?
He has Texas A&M, Pittsburgh, Michigan, and Baylor.
I mean, he's just looking for attention, hoping to get one of those 4 right. I mean, when you don't have Ohio State and Georgia and Alabama in your top 4 picks, then you're just hoping for injuries and crazy stuff to happen, which I guess is possible. But then you're just guessing. If you tell me that the Pittsburgh Panthers are going to beat the Clemson Tigers and win the ACC for a second straight year without a quarterback named Kenny Pickett, I'm telling you, you're crazy. And you got to know something that nobody else knows. And who did he say? Baylor?
hang on. He had
Michigan,
Texas A&M, Michigan, Pitt, and
Pitt.
Where did it go?
Baylor.
Yeah, Baylor.
Yeah. So Michigan. Now what? Michigan is going to be good. They play in the very difficult Big Ten East. Purdue is a surprise. I'd rather hear him say something like, what's Purdue going to do in the East? They're going to surprise people. They've got a 6th-year starting quarterback with a good coach that can draw up ball plays. Watch out for Purdue.
He can draw ball plays.
Watch out for Purdue, QB. And I agree with Baylor. They're tough, but that conference isn't going to send a team to the Final Four because the conference is going to have a 2-loss conference winner. And so I don't see how that happens. That doesn't make sense. Desmond just wants somebody to talk about it, and that's what you're doing. So there you go.
Well, we're only doing it for a minute. If you missed it, some SEC West teams have named their starting quarterback. Haynes King, who was the starting quarterback at A&M last year before he was injured, beats out Max Johnson, who transferred from LSU. He will be the starter. TJ Finley will be the starter. And Auburn.
Yeah.
And
I think will play. Max will play, though. He will see playing time.
Well, if the other kid struggles, but I don't see him playing. Jim Harbaugh has not named a starter, but he's going to start 2 different quarterbacks for each of their first 2 games and make an evaluation after that. So, kind of an interesting thing there. I don't know how that could be fair. I don't know who their opponents are. If one kid plays against a team that's a little bit better, who knows? But we just got a text here. This is our anonymous text. He has a problem. Whoever this guy is has a problem with you.
Good.
He says, first day of game week, the co-host is wearing an Alabama hat. Never in a million years would this happen in Tuscaloosa. That's not true at all. If I was doing a show with someone in Tuscaloosa or Columbus, Ohio, and I was a graduate of Florida, I would wear an F Club shirt. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't know what this guy's.
But I don't mind him being irritated by it. I probably did that on purpose so I could irritate him. But you've got this quarterback at Michigan situation you're just talking about. One of them gets to play Colorado State. The other one gets to play Hawaii.
Oh, dear Lord.
And then there's Connecticut coming in after that. So maybe. But listen, I understand that. Listen, I thought about wearing a Florida hat, but I said, you know what? The day before the game is Friday. I'm going to be on Friday. Why wouldn't I wear it then? So, I want the Gators.
It doesn't matter. For this guy, let him know you graduated from both schools.
Yeah, I graduated I did. I went to both schools, but I got my bachelor's at Alabama. I mean, that's just the way it worked out for me.
Yeah.
So,
Lauren says prayers for Brian Robinson, the former Alabama running back who was shot yesterday multiple times in a carjacking. Crazy world out there.
I did not know that. Really, that happened?
You did? He's in the hospital. He's lucky to be alive.
What a shame. Did he got drafted, right?
It was like a 2nd-round draft pick or 1st-round draft. I don't know when he was drafted, but
we heard of the other unfortunate thing that happened to John Mechie, the former Alabama wide receiver who has leukemia, very curable form of it, but still has it. He's going to miss his first year with the Houston Texans. So that's another sad story. I don't know. I think game week is important, obviously, for all of us to talk about, but I want to keep it real. I'm sure Pat Dooley is going to come on here and give you much of the same things that I probably said. I would be very surprised if he tries to, give false hope to folks. Because again,
Dooley, I know exactly what Dooley's going to say is he doesn't know what to expect from this team because nobody does.
Well, right, but what's he going to say about Utah? He's going to say the same thing we just said. I mean,
Utah, we know what to expect.
Right, right.
I can't remember ever hearing a college football team and having 17, 18 starters back.
Woo. I mean, from a championship team. So, I mean, I don't think that the humidity is going to affect Utah. I just, for some reason, don't think that's going to decide the game. I just don't.
Yeah. All right, JC, let's go ahead and get you out of here. We'll get to Dooley. There are a ton of college games on Thursday, by the way.
We'll do those on Wednesday.
We can pick Wednesday before Mike Morgan joins us. So,
yes.
All right, JC.
All right.
We'll talk to you on Wednesday. Yes, JC, join us on the Titan More Hotline. Going to take a timeout, come back. We'll be joined by Pat Dooley. get his thoughts on the home opener for the Florida Gators. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Point. That's where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Escape Apology, Sushi Hana, Regal Cinemas, Kilwins, Le Macaron, Prime and Pearl, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 2:30, you can get the hottest brunch in town. We will see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. Going to head back to the Titan Moore Hotline. We're joined by the former head dog at the Gainesville Sun. Now he runs the Another Dooley Noted Podcast, Pat Dooley. Good morning, Pat. How are you, my man?
I'm good. How are you? I know it's game week because I've already been on 2 radio shows, and now I'm doing your show, and then I'm going to do 2 speeches this week, and it all changes once the season starts.
You ain't lying. It's going to be. I got so much going on now. I was trying to sit down last night, going, okay, you need to write down what you have to do every day of this week, because now I got, and I'm going to get him on as well. I get the play-by-play from you. Guy from Utah texts me wanting me to come on his show. The problem is it's easy to go on his show. Getting them to wake up at 5 a.m. to come on my show is a little difficult. So we're going to have to tape it or something. We got a couple of Facebook Lives here I want to get to regarding FAMU. FAMU played outstanding football. I don't know if you saw any of that, Pat, against North Carolina.
Dude, they were missing like 12 hours of football Saturday.
Yeah, I was the same way. They were missing like 26 players for academic issues, I think. But give them credit, man. They were awesome. I don't know if people saw it or not, but the band's always awesome at FAMU. But they did a deal combined with North Carolina's band, which cracked me up a little bit because the Tar Heel band was doing all the juking and jiving, and it made me laugh. But did you saw some of the FAMU game?
Yeah, I did. I had the 2 TVs going the whole weekend, so I watched a lot of that game, and I kept going. Man, North Carolina, I guess, isn't very good because FAMU had so many guys out. I mean, 3 of them were starters. One of them was the sack leader for I think in all of HBCU. He was out. So. Yeah, I wasn't overly impressed with North Carolina, but at the end they kind of pulled away. So, but it was, they played their hearts out. You got to give them credit. That coach a lot of credit for getting them to play with all those guys out.
Text here on the Titan MR text line from Jimmy. He says, Pat, aren't we glad as Gators that we didn't get Scott Frost?
Well, they could have had him. I mean, excuse me, the line of succession went Chip Kelly, Scott Frost. A brief discussion with Mike Gundy and then to Dan Mullen. So, the question I have for you, Shane, is do you think he would be as unsuccessful here as he is at Nebraska? First of all, he'd be gone by now, right? They wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean.
I don't know. I mean, he did such a good job at UCF, but, sometimes guys that do it at a smaller group of 5 type school, it never translates to the big boys. I really thought he would be a great hire for Nebraska, being a former player, a former quarterback. Now he's lost a ton of close one-score games, which nobody gives a damn. You lost them.
You lost them, exactly.
But if he had found a way to win, just say half of those, people wouldn't be talking about it. But I mean, gosh, I watched that game. You score 2 consecutive touchdowns very quickly. You go up by 11, and then you try the surprise onside, which was executed just horribly. That
was
just
Kirby Smart-esque.
Yeah. So,
but no, the thing is, if he wins 50 games in a row, he will still have a worse record than Bo Pelini, who they fired. If he wins 70 games in a row, he'll have a worse record than Frank Solich, who they fired. So they've done a poor job. And again, they got into that cycle where they bring in this guy, they bring in Callahan, they bring in Mike Riley, who you thought, well, that makes some sense, but of course not. It's a bad culture fit. It doesn't work. And then Scott Frost looks like a no-brainer. But some guys are just, I call it Zook luck. They just can't catch a break, you know? And I think that's partly him. Now, he created his own bad break. The other thing, though, to me, though, more than the onside kick, was the fact that after the onside kick, Shane, that team was a different team. It was almost like they went, oh, crap, here we go again. We're going to blow this game too. They couldn't do anything on offense after that, and just got gashed with the run game. That tells me they're going to lose a lot of games this year. And I mean, what's the over/under on how many games he lasts this year?
Well, JC was just talking about. JC had the schedule in front of him where he thought that they could get to 3-1, but who knows? I mean, they may lose to teams that they should beat. They should have beaten Northwestern. So, anyway, did anything stand out to you in the few games that you saw this weekend?
Well, that was the highlight. That and the guy's pants for Duquesne.
They're okay. I have a screenshot of that.
I was going to say, Evan and Tammy, but I want it for my show too today. Okay.
Well, I'll text it to you. It's not on my show, but I can there is no way, Pat, that kid has ever suited up for at any level. It's like they picked him up. Look, it's almost like, okay, we're traveling with 70, but we only have 69 kids. Find somebody on campus. We got to have 70. There's no way he's ever put on a football uniform, ever.
I still don't think he has. I don't know what that thing he was wearing was, but I felt bad.
Because it was so bad.
A viral sensation, but that kind of told you the team they were playing. And, we like Shane, I think you and I were talking about, we didn't know Duquesne had a football team until we saw it on the schedule. So, but it was good for FSU to get out and run around, play a game. And Travis did look good, and I think he's got a chance to be really good. He's kind of another Martinez, who he makes a lot of plays but then he makes a bad play and it kind of negates everything. We'll see how that works out. But other than that, I did stay up to watch Hawaii. Part of me was, wow, maybe Vanderbilt's going to be better than I thought. And part of me was like, wow, Hawaii is maybe the worst team in America.
Hawaii is I was joking about this. I said, I'm not sure who would win between Hawaii and Duquesne because Hawaii did so many unsound things, Pat, that I could see on TV. And then we had a listener say, Hawaii plays Duquesne week 4.
Ooh.
Should be a hell of a game.
We got to find a way to stream that or something and go watch it somewhere because it could be the worst game ever played. No, but Hawaii gets on the lead. Vandy goes for it on 4th down, throw it out of bounds. He threw a Kyle Morris play there. And so I'm like watching this game, and I came out, my wife was watching something like Game of Thrones or something. And I said, hey, I've never said these words before, but Vandy's terrible. I'm just kidding, of course. I go back in. By the time I get back to the room, they've scored again. Vandy scored. Yeah. Vandy scored again. And then they scored again. Next thing I know, I said, I'm going to bed because they scored 35 in the 3rd quarter. Now, does that make you go, ooh, maybe Vandy's going to be good? Not really, because if you watch the game, Hawaii is really bad.
Yeah, I told JC Vandy won't win an SEC game. Andy has a Facebook Live brought to you by Mellon Law. He says, Pat, yes, no way, or maybe, your little deal you do on your show.
Yep.
Scott Strickland will change the qualifications for the Gator Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I think it'll happen. I would say yes. I know that he's hinted about it. He's talked about it. He's at least considering it. He's talking to people about what to do. I don't know what those changes are going to be. My thing should be they could add a couple of categories that we could get some people. I mean, the number one guy for me is Lomas Brown. I think Lomas Brown should be in the Ring of Honor. I don't think there's any question about it. I'm a big proponent of Carlos Alvarez because I think not only as a player, but what he has done, he's 3-time academic All-American. He's done a great service at the University of Florida and is a huge supporter of Florida. I would argue those two, but I mean, I could argue 10. Now, I do get.
But those two meet the criteria now, though.
No, they don't. They have not won an.
They're in the College Football Hall of Fame.
That's not a criteria. That's the criteria that needs to change.
I thought that was.
You got to be in the NFL Hall of Fame,
which is the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah,
nothing you do in the NFL should have anything. No bearing.
Pierce could get into the Ring of Honor. Think about that, because let me tell you what, he's going to be a better NFL player than he was a college player because they wouldn't give him the ball in college.
Yeah. There's no question. No question. All right, let's get to the Utah Utes. You've covered a lot of home openers for the Gators. Yeah. Obviously, they've played Houston. People talk about the Houston game when I think they were supposedly ranked number 1 coming in here. But in my time, there's never been a team rolling to the swamp this talented, this highly ranked, that's such a good football team. Just give me your overall thoughts of this opener.
Yeah, by the way, that Houston team was number 1 in Playboy, so that's probably where you saw it. But
well, I was in Playboy, by the way. I was a Playboy All-American.
All-American. That used to be a big deal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But they were number 7 in the AP poll. It's the last team that was number 7 that's come in here for an opener. My thing on this is that Utah – I mean, Florida is trying to build a roster and build a culture right now, and I think they will, and I have a lot of confidence in Bill and Napier. But Utah's already done it. They've built a culture. They've built a roster with a lot of 2- and 3-star guys that they developed. I just think they're better equipped. And look, the swamp will be a factor. The humidity, if they can get it to the fourth quarter, is a tight game, could be a factor. But the bottom line is their roster is better than Florida's. Now, is it more talented? Not necessarily. But their guys know what they're supposed to do and have known what they're supposed to do for years, and in that system. And that's to me the big advantage that Florida has, or that the Utah has. But again, you see that line. It opened at 1 a long time ago, probably in May or something. It went to 2.5, moved all the way the other way to 2.5, and hadn't budged. So the money's coming in evenly on that game. So people have no idea exactly what's going to happen there.
Yeah, as you said, the home crowd, the stadium, all that is a big plus for the Gators. It should be a lot of fun. When you look at this Gator roster, obviously you haven't watched practice or anything of that nature. What are you wanting to see? I mean, again, I try to tell people we went 6-7 last year, people. And it's a lot of the same players. We're going to start a different quarterback who everybody has seen, but he has not played a whole lot of football. What are you looking for in game 1?
Well, the number one thing, I think maybe I harp on it more than most people do, but the minus 311-yard differential in penalties needs to go away. I mean, that was last year. That was ridiculous. That was the most undisciplined team ever, maybe at Florida. I mean, he's come in here. He's promised physicality. Okay, you're going to get tested right away. First 2 games, they're going to be as physical teams you're going to play all year. Can Florida handle that? But I mean, for me, more than anything, Shane, there's a lot of players on this roster, a lot of players in that starting lineup that might be really, really good players. None of them have shown it to me. I've not seen it. I haven't seen it from Anthony Richardson. I haven't seen it from Jervon Dexter. I mean, there's been a lot of games where he doesn't always play hard. I haven't seen it from Brenton Cox. But these guys have the potential to be high draft picks. It's a contract year for a lot of those guys. I want to see what Osiris Torrance is. He really as good as his preseason hype in terms of preseason All-SEC and then preseason All-American? So those are the kind of things I'm looking for. Can these guys play as good as their ability? because the ability's there. They just weren't being coached the right way. And and that secondary too, Shane. You look at that secondary; they're good players back there. They're all 4-stars. In that secondary, they suck. They aren't any good. Look at last 2 years; they have had single digits in interceptions. Single digits. That never happens here.
Right, but the reason, in my opinion, on that, because a lot of those guys that you're referring to back there have gone on to play in the National Football League, because I thought they were good players. I've been preaching for the last 3 years. Our front seven is the problem in the run game and in the pass game, because I don't care who you are, you cannot cover all day if you can't pressure the quarterback. So to me, for Florida to have a successful year, the front seven has got to play at a high level on defense. We got a text here.
But you've got to. If you can take away the run game, your secondary guys don't have to come up, so they're not always playing in between. Yeah,
so it's defense is going to be crucial, and I think. And I said this, I don't know maybe it was your show. I've been on so many shows like you. Last year, a couple of games, it was so embarrassing how we performed on defense. And I know fans want to blame the coach and the scheme, but defense is about effort. And when you walk out on that field in your game uniform with the lights are shining, that is your job interview for the next level. If you don't play hard, you're hurting yourself for the future. And so these people are like, oh, they gave up on the coach. They didn't believe in the coach. That's hogwash.
Yeah.
We just got our ass handed to us a lot of times and ball run right down our throat. And if you will not see that this year, because if you are not in your gap, playing gap sound football, doing what you're supposed to do as a teammate, and you don't play with effort, this staff ain't going to put up with it. I can promise you that. So I think they will. They will be better. Defense.
I think the bottom line is, I think it was a combination of not the coaches not doing a good job and the players not doing a good. Players not giving the effort all the time. But if players aren't giving the effort, they should be on the
benched.
Yeah, and so get other guys. And I think that Dan Mullen and Todd Grantham were very stubborn in that they were going to play their older players no matter what, no matter how badly they played. And we saw it, and it just didn't work out. So. I think that's another fascinating part of this is seeing Patrick Toney's defense and seeing, how quickly a guy who commits a penalty gets out of a game. But it's going to be interesting. Again, this is really an unveiling. I mean, I know that some of you have been able to go to some practices. I still haven't gotten to the point where I want to go out there and watch them stretch for 15 minutes, but it'll be interesting to see. It's a big unveiling, like you said, Shane. It's a big unveiling. Here it is. Here's what it's going to be, and then it'll try. It's going to be the worst they play all year. I'll tell you that. They're going to improve as the year goes on.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. All right, before we get you out of here, text on the Titan Mark text line from Robert. He says, Pat, I really enjoyed reading your top 12. The one you did on Coach Spurrier's openers was great.
Yeah, it was the best quote from his opening games, all 12 of his opening games. So there was
how much research did that take?
It took a long time. It was hard. And I got a little help from Chris Harry because he keeps every story he ever wrote. But it was a lot of fun. I knew it would be a big hit and it went through the roof on Gators Wire. But there was always some good one. I think the one after the Doug Johnson's opening game, and he said, "We're just stupid." You don't hear that from coaches very often. I mean, you go back to the very first game, Oklahoma State game. He goes, they aren't very good. They weren't very good. We're going to have to play a lot better teams than that as we go forward. So we knew we were in for a different coach. But anytime you can do something where you have quotes from the coaches, that's a good thing from that coach, because he's always got a good one.
There's nobody in modern day football that has any kind of type of quotes like that.
No.
Is there? I can't think of it. Maybe Lane Kiffin?
Kiffin would be Kiffin is trying to be the new Steve, like at media days and stuff, but Steve was never calculated. It was coming. That's just him talking,
Yeah.
All right, Shaner.
Yeah, it was There's nothing like it. There's no question about it. Mike Leach has some silly stuff he says too. It's usually not even on the subject you're talking. He just kind of rambles. But yeah, Leach and Lane would probably be the best. All right. What
about Leach is that I really like him. He sent a helmet every year to our golf tournament, but he said just enough misogynistic things that my wife hates him, so I can't bring him up in the, like fat little girlfriends and stuff like that. Which he said.
Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Last question for you, Pat. We've had a bunch of texts pretty much on the Titan Mar text line, all about the same. They want Pat Dooley's season prediction of our record.
Wow. Well, I've said this all along. I think they're 2 injuries away from 6-6, and that would be Richardson and Miller. If Ventrell Miller goes out, I don't know who the backup is. I mean, last year they didn't have one. I mean, Hopper came in there and they just kept running the ball right past him. If guys are as good as their ability, I think they're 10-2. So the ceiling is 10-2.
10-2? Really?
That's the ceiling. Okay. I think the floor is 6-6 because none of those games is unwinnable. Is a game Saturday unwinnable? No. Kentucky's not unwinnable at home, especially going to Knoxville where you beat them so many times. So I think, but I mean, they would have to, Anthony Richardson would have to be that generational player for them to get to 10-2. But my prediction is probably 7-5, maybe 8-4. I just think that the roster is just too thin. And if they have injury issues, it could be a rough season for Billy Napier's. But everybody remember, this is the first step. Baby step.
He's the right guy. There's no question about it. I love everything he's done. I think the 2 keys to the entire year, Anthony's got to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need him hurdling a guy and running 70 yards for a touchdown, then going 0 for 10 the next 10 passes. I need him just to be a consistent player. I don't need any wow moments. Just his natural ability will cause the wow moment.
Right.
Be a consistent player, and I'm telling you, the front 7 on defense scares the hell out of me.
Well, it does. There's guys there that, I'll give you an example. I mean, Cox, Miller, Dexter. You're looking at your all SEC team. You're thinking about those guys, but they haven't played.
But they're 3rd on the all SEC team.
Yeah, and they've never played consistently like that. So I think that there is a potential there. And again, Shane, we are going to see the one thing you can judge first game wise. What did they get out of them? Did these guys get better from what they were last year? And that is really what I'll be looking for more than anything. Did they improve? It'd be great if Florida could win this game. Okay. But if they lose it 31-28, with all those recruits there and the swamp is jumping up and down, it's going to be a plus for Florida. I don't believe in moral victories at all, but it will not be a negative. Let's put it that way.
Daniel says, will we have blue and orange LED lights Saturday night?
I keep hearing that rumor. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of those, but
Is that where the lights go out and they do all this
flashing all around and everything?
Well, I think you got to score touchdowns for that to happen, right?
So there may not be any lights.
Yeah, well, let's hope there are a bunch if we do that. I've always wondered, I forgot I was watching a game the other night and they did that. Or maybe, I don't remember, but what if they turn the lights out and then they can't ever get them back on?
Yeah, I think about that every time they do. Like in baseball, they do it. Now, Florida baseball, when a guy hits a homer, the lights go on and off and everything. And I'm like, oh, they better come back on. Yeah, I don't want a delay here.
All right, Pat, let everybody know how they can listen to your program and then follow all your writing.
Yeah, so today, Coach Spur is in every Monday, 2 o'clock on Facebook Live and all the other podcasts and YouTube. And then, again, on Friday, we're going to have Josh Norman, who writes for the Salt Lake City Tribune. And he's actually going to be in town. He's going to be in studio because he's here for the game. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then I write for Gators Wire. And I write for WRUF.com. The back 9 people keep coming up to me saying, "Oh, I miss you." I go, "Well, no, you miss the convenience of me. You miss me that paper coming on your doorstep. I'm still writing the same stuff. It's just in different places. So the back nine and grading the Gators are on WRUF.com. And so, and radio every day with the lovely Jeff Cardozo.
That's right. But now you got some stuff to actually talk about. It's been a long summer.
It's like I told my wife, I said, it's not that I just am going crazy wanting to get football to start because I want to watch games. It's because I want something to talk about other than, what do you think about Florida, Utah?
Yeah. Well, we're going to find out here in a few days. Pat, appreciate you taking the time, man, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. See you later, guys.
That's Pat Dooley. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. Ruse-Oger State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogerinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. We appreciate you joining the program today. Hope you all like our new opening. Our man Evan Miller did a tremendous job on it. Again, the winner of the contest is Michelle Hartman McDonald. Make sure you direct message the program so we can get your size, what number and name you want on your jersey, and get your address and get it shipped out in the next week or so. Today's program is over, folks. It went by fast, and we're coming to you live from Park City, Utah. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Have a great day, folks. Take care.